Hi, and welcome to another of our special episodes of Fresh Ears from Campaign's Media360 in Brighton. I'm Neil Cowling, the founder of Fresh Air, and my colleague Michaela Hallam, Fresh Air's Director of Content, spent the whole of the 2 days speaking to some of the senior brand leaders here at the conference. We previously featured Liam Dolan from Sky Media and Yorkshire Tea's Don Dwight. Next up was Matt Bushby, Chief Marketing Officer at Rightmove, and previous to that, the UK's Marketing Director of Just Eat.
Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Lovely to join you.
Thanks for taking some time out of the conference to talk to us. We've been having some really interesting conversations today in the wider context of marketing, but thinking about specifically marketing through the prism of audio and what audio branding and sonic identity in the broader sense can bring to a brand. Prior to being CMO of Rightmove, you were UK Marketing Director of Just Eat. Now, Just Eat has arguably one of the best known audio identities in the country. So if you don't mind, I'm going to start there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course, yeah. I think from our perspective, it's one of those fabulous things to have been able to build, is that distinctive asset that comes with sort of truly standout audio assets. And I think that was something that was built through Did Somebody Say Just Eat, and really accelerated through the collaboration with Snoop and then latterly with Katy Perry as well. And what it gave us was a brilliant opportunity, not just to see that play out through our television advertising, but it created fabulous cut through radio. It got us, we did a Christmas track with Snoop in the end on which we put on Spotify. Didn't make the top 10, but
you're not sore about that.
Not, but it's an amazing, I guess, power to have as a brand, and something that comes around relatively rarely.
Absolutely. I mean, you say it was on TV and radio, but even when you saw it in print, you couldn't help but kind of sing that in your head as well, I think.
I think the acid test is, do your kids and your friends' kids sing it at you from the back of the car?
Yeah.
And if they do, then you're onto something, I think.
And why do you think it's important for a brand to have an audio identity? I mean, I know that a lot of the brands and businesses that we talk to are really clear about what they look like, but fewer have considered what they sound like.
I think it creates real ownability, and it creates real distinction in the market, because you're playing through a whole number of different mediums, and it gives you that, I think, that sense that really sticks with you, and where you've seen the likes of McDonald's, Just Eat, others really kind of pull on that. I think it puts you not just in a place where you become memorable, but I think it actually puts you at the heart of culture as well, which is a really exciting place to be, but also a very difficult place to get to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that also comes, I think, with the different partnerships, as you say, of the sorts of people who might personify your brand, as you referenced earlier. Moving on to Rightmove, are you thinking about what Rightmove might sound like now?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, because it's a very different space. It's still big audiences, and I think in both cases the real commonalities are that you've got these big mainstream brands that are used by lots of people, lots of times, every day, every week, every month. So how do you stay top of mind? How do you stay engaged with your consumer base, but also reaching out to a base that is beyond that as well? And I think audio plays a big part in that. Now we're working through at the moment what all of that looks like, what our brand platform looks like. Actually, how do we go to our next stage of growth? Because I think from a Rightmove perspective, we're in a fabulous place. We're at scale. We've top 30 most traffic websites in the UK. We've got great market share. We've got great brand awareness. But we want to build the business, and we want to build from a core of really great property search and discovery, and to really think about the various different places we could go to make that moving journey easier, but also to broaden it and think about different places we can engage with consumers. And you need to be recognisable and front of mind to do that. So watch this space.
I think we were listening to you talking on stage at the conference earlier, and it's interesting that you were talking about you're not just a website. You want to create content and be an entertainment brand. You sponsored Saturday Night Takeaway. You were talking about, during the coronation, about people being able to view the castles through Rightmove. Do you think that audio might be able to play a part in that kind of wider content strategy?
I think it can. I think in a lot of ways we are inherently an entertainment brand. So property is quite unique in its place in the heart of this sort of country's obsession. It becomes something which I think you can draw people back into in a way that's very hard to do in any other category, I think. So as an entertainment brand, that's not just our association with entertainment properties, but it's actually also just the core content that we have and the platform that we have. One of the things that I think audio can do is amplify that, and I think it gives us the opportunity to think about different routes into the consumer journey, different routes into our consumers' lives, and extending beyond just that, I guess that really powerful sense of property search, which has been at the heart of our business so far.
I think you're right. I think it is more than just property search. We were talking earlier about the fact that I moved house 10 years ago, but I still snoop my street through Rightmove just to be able to, as you said, see how the neighbours have configured their house to see whether I might copy that. What else do people use Rightmove for?
It's fascinating. So we've got about 20 million people that use the Rightmove platform in any year, and there's, give or take, about 2.5 million people that move, so people that buy or people that rent. So you've got a whole load of people who are using it for property research, but a lot of people who are using it for a whole number of different other use cases. So that might be, as you described, sort of understanding, well, how are other people down your road configuring their kitchen in a similar looking house? There could be a bit of sort of looking into what could be to come in your life. Well, actually, what do you aspire to? What are the things that really get you excited? There's a sort of a lovely, voyeurism's probably not the right word, but a lovely sense of being able to see other people's lives in a really accessible way. And I think people are using it to, I think, find inspiration, to find opportunity, and hopefully eventually to find their next home.
It's really interesting because you appeal to so many different sorts of people and so many different audiences. How do you personify that brand in a way that speaks to all of those different people as one single entity?
I think it's always the case with mass market brands that you talk to everybody because you are ubiquitous, I think, within people's understanding of property or people's understanding of moving. But you've got, I think, to have a sense as to who your sort of core target audience is. And they can be pretty broad audiences. Ours are our kind of home mover audience who are 35 to 55, tend to be people who are sort of taking steps through their property journey. We've then got a younger audience who are renters, who are potentially looking to become first-time buyers. And it's our challenge to think about how creatively and through our media we're able to engage with those audiences, sometimes singularly in a way that doesn't alienate either, and sometimes where we can be specific and engage with those audiences in a way that means that we present ourselves in a slightly different way, always coming back to the core of what the brand's about, but actually talking about some of the things that really matter to those different audiences.
And there's been kind of a bit of a demographic change in house buyers in particular. There's lots more people staying at home for longer, people are having children later. Has that resulted in a change in the way that you express the brand?
I think it's an evolving picture, to be honest. So I think what we're seeing, exactly to your point, is that people are less likely to be married. I think sort of half as likely to be married by the time they're 30 as they were 10 years ago. And similarly, less likely to have kids earlier on. And I think that's just seeing a change in the way in which people's life moments evolve. And I think from our point of view, we've got to be cognizant of that. We've got to reflect society. I think that's really important. It's not for us to try to shape the way
I like that, yeah,
behave.
a reflection as opposed to a finger pointing telling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And do you use any audio platforms at the moment?
And less at the moment. We've done a little bit of podcast advertising, so we've dipped a toe into that, into the water there.
Can I ask which podcast do you use to advertise around?
We did a little bit with the On The Menu podcast and a couple of others as well, and part of that was trying to reach specific audiences, so trying to get to that sort of younger renter and first-time buyer audience. Yep. And it's part of us really trying to understand that broader ecosystem that we think we can engage with, and in all of these circumstances, and it was the same at Just Eat as it's the same at Rightmove, we'll try different mediums, we'll engage with them, we'll commit to them, because I think that's really important, that you're able to to understand really the power and the potential of the platform and see how much that can help us to evolve and build our business.
You say you dipped your toe in. Do you have any results? Did that work? Has it been
we're still dipping our toe still in the water in that one, so we shall see how that pans out.
And finally, is there a kind of a language or a tone of voice defined for the Rightmove brand that, and if so, how might that become an audio brief?
So it's a really good question, and it's something we're defining at the moment. So we appointed Neverland as our new creative partners about 5 weeks ago now. So we've been busy building out what our brand platform looks like, and as part of that, our tone of voice and everything that comes with that. And we spent this morning talking to our exec team about that and what that might look like, and so from there we're going to be building out those assets, that tone of voice, and thinking about how that gives us the stretch to turn up in a load of different places, and I think audio could definitely be one of those.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. I've been talking to Matt Bushby, the CMO of Rightmove, and watch this space to see what they do next. Thank you.
Thank you.
A fascinating insight into brands that are audio first, as well as those for whom there is almost no sound at all. It'll be great to see how Rightmove evolves from here under Matt's leadership. If you'd like to find out about building podcasts and an audio strategy for your brand, we're at freshairproduction.co.uk. I'm Neil Cowling. Goodbye, and thank you very much for listening.
Fresh.